Hey, I'm Riley, and this is the Superhuman Podcast. At Superhuman, we bring you cutting edge insights from health experts and high performers to help you unlock your body's full potential, supercharge your mind, and achieve more with less effort. Do you want to fix nagging health issues, boost productivity, spark genius ideas, master stress, build strong relationships, and increase your income? It all starts with optimizing your inner machinery. My guest today is Cynthia Cohen. Hey, Cynthia.
Hi, Riley. How are you?
I'm doing really good, thanks. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
So can you explain for our listeners a little bit about just who you are and what you do at Nuchu?
Yes, so I'm the founder and CEO of Nuchu, which is a brand of gut-friendly gummy supplements with no added sugars, but also no sweeteners. We have blends that support immunity, beauty, so hair, skin, nails, and calm with ashwagandha.
Cool. And how long have you been doing this for?
So I've been working on this full time for the last year or so. And we launched recently in November, so around 6 months. But the whole idea to conception took me about 3.5 years.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a lot of planning around that. And I can't tell you the amount of people that say they can't swallow pills. And so being able to just have the gummies, everybody just has a positive association with that. So it's really cool you designed it that way.
100%. It is so seamless. It's so easy to take and it's just enjoyable because today I feel like everyone is just taking more and more supplements because there's more and more studies and ingredients out there that are being discovered. And I think the last thing that people want to do is add another tablet or capsule to their regimen.
Mm-hmm, totally. And what was your origin story with starting this brand and everything else? Did it go back to some of your own issues related to gastro health?
100%. So I was in university and I experienced severe bloating and I went to see some doctors. Some told me to cut out gluten. Some told me to eat this FODMAP diet and nothing worked. And at the end, I just went to see a naturopath and she diagnosed me with IBS and Candida, which is basically an overgrowth of bacteria in your gut. And so I just became really conscious as to what I was eating, what I was putting inside my body, stress levels. And at that point, this was around 2018, 2019. There was a trend in gummy supplements. I think there was like the first apple cider vinegar gummy. And so I really wanted to take gummy supplements as opposed to tablets. And after this diagnosis, I just became conscious as to what I was eating, as I mentioned. So I was reading the ingredients, reading all the labels. And I noticed with gummy supplements, they were packed with sugar. So I told myself, okay, then let's go sugar-free. But the sugar-free ones had artificial sweeteners, which are even worse for your health. And I just couldn't find a brand that I would personally take. And so a few years later, I still noticed that there was a gap in the market for a clean alternative in terms of gummy supplements. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to create my own. So this is why at Nuchu, we don't have any added sugars, but also no sweeteners. So the question I get a lot is, well, then how does it taste palatable? What we use is something called FOS, which is short for fructooligosaccharides. And it's basically a natural fiber that is found in plants, in bananas, for example, and it's naturally sweet. But a bonus is that it's also a prebiotic. So it's completely gut friendly, which is the point of Nuchu.
Very interesting. You know, you hear of stevia, you hear of xylitol, but that one I've never heard of before. So that's really interesting.
Nor have I actually, because initially I wanted to use stevia or monk fruit or just any natural sweetener. But apparently I spoke to a bunch of suppliers. It actually took me 1 year to find a supplier who could make the gummies without the added sugars or the sweeteners, because the majority said, well, listen, we need one or the other to be able to create this gummy consistency. And obviously that's my USP. So I said, no, thank you. And it took me a year to find. And they said, listen, we can't use stevia or monk fruit because, again, it's a consistency problem. What we can use is something called FOS. So I looked into it and I did notice that it was a prebiotic fiber. And I said, okay, green light. Let's go.
No kidding. That's really exciting. And, you know, can you talk about the ingredients that are inside of there that helps people with their IBS?
100%. So all of the gummies don't have the added sugars. They don't have the sweeteners. They each contain this prebiotic fiber. And as I mentioned in the intro, I have 3 blends. So I have one for immunity with elderberry, propolis, echinacea. I have one for hair, skin, nails, biotin, folic acid, a bunch of vitamins in there, minerals. And then one of the most popular ones we have is the calming gummy, which contains ashwagandha, which is super popular today to just reduce your cortisol levels. It contains as well vitamin B6, B12, and that's, one of our most popular ones, which, no kidding, everyone is stressed today.
Yeah, everyone's stressed today with work and everything else that's going on. And with the B6, you're going to really help with that absorption for all those vitamins that are coming in I also think too, when you chew it, opposed to it just going to your gut, so many people have compromised digestion. And when you have the pill and it just goes to your stomach, it doesn't always get
100%.
fully absorbed,
So
especially
gum,
if somebody, go ahead.
sorry to cut you off. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, so many people have parasites and they can't absorb it. So when you bite it, it's actually going through to your bloodstream directly, almost like a sublingual melatonin.
100%. And a lot of the capsules and tablets, they're coated with
Mm.
just things that are difficult to digest. And the things with gummies is that it takes around 20 minutes for the additives, well, not the well, the ingredients in the gummies to enter the bloodstream. And with
Mm.
capsules and tablets, it can take about an hour and a half, which is why the effect with gummies is just way quicker and way more immediate.
No kidding. Switching gears now to your entrepreneurial journey, going through this, I'm
Oh,
sure there were
God.
some ups. I'm sure there were some downs. Can you talk about some of the challenges? Like yours, you said it was taking about 3.5 years to map this all out. What was that
Definitely.
like?
So I just said, okay, well, I have this idea. Let's do it. But I
Mm.
did not know everything that went behind it. Okay, I just thought to myself, register the name, get the website, let's go.
Mm.
But because it's things that people consume, the legal aspect of it was huge. And I'm selling predominantly in Europe, France, UK as well. But every country has its own regulations. Whereas the US, you just have the US. It's not every state that has its own
Mm.
regulations. But Europe, every country does. So it was getting the labels approved, but it can be approved in one country and not in the other. So going through all these like iterations with the labels, then things with the tax, the VAT, the accounting, the logistics, who's going to send out the shipments, who's going to pack it. It was a huge struggle in the beginning because I just had no idea what I was getting myself into. But now, 6 months down the line, I'm so grateful because I just learned so much about just everything that goes on behind the scenes and having a business. Um, it's a lot of tears, a lot of highs,
I'm sure.
but and a lot of lows. But the lows like are really worth it to know
Mm.
what the highs feel like, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It
But in
makes
the
those experiences really enriching. It grows those roots down
100%.
deep,
And
right?
in the beginning, I really felt like this imposter syndrome. I was
Mm.
comparing my brand to brands that were not even in like my field, just thinking to myself, oh, well, their TikTok looks better than mine. This Instagram post is amazing. Their website, this, that. But at the end, like comparison is just awful and everyone has their own journey. And we only see the good things that are posted. We don't
Mm.
know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know how well the business is doing. And I think I just came to the realization that you just have to stay tunnel vision, persevere in your own business without looking outside of you because you know
Mm.
where you're going. No one else does, And I
Mm.
think just that shift in mindset really helped me.
Yeah, and people appreciate that authenticity when you can explain those highs and the lows instead of just, putting lipstick on a pig or something. Like it's really incredible. I've heard Elon Musk say starting a business is like you're floating through space, you're eating glass and you're looking into the abyss. And I can say that in the early stages of my journey too. It's a lot like that because you don't know until it finally takes form. It's like, wow, this is actually turning into something. But it seems like you've really taken shape what you're doing at Nuchu and it's amazing.
100%. And I read this quote actually recently, or I saw it on a TikTok, and they were talking about how people always try to see like where they're going, where is like the destination. But it's so important for you to just know what your next step is. You don't have to see the end of the path, the end of the journey. As long as you know what your next step is, everything that is yours, that is meant for you and your business will come to you. The opportunities will come to you because we hear a lot of, oh, well, where do you see your business in 5 years, 10 years? I don't even know where I see it in 5 months. So many
Mm-hmm.
things can change. And I think it's just about as well taking it day by day, business wise and on a personal level too, with everything that happens in your life, as opposed to stressing out and planning for the future because you can have all the plans you want. You never know what can fall into your lap. So it's really just about staying on course day by day. You have a bad day, that's okay. Tomorrow is a new day. And yeah, life goes on.
Yeah, it resets. And I'm sure those ashwagandha gummies can help along the way too for a lot of people.
100%. They
Yeah.
really work. And they taste so good that some people say, well, listen, I know I'm only meant to take 2 a day, but I've taken 6 and I don't know why I'm feeling a bit groggy. Well, that's great.
Yeah, no wonder. Well, I'll definitely have to try some at some point. But I think, what you said is right. You really have to focus on the inputs because when you focus on the inputs, the outputs will take care of themselves. I'm all for financial forecasting and guessing what the future is going to hold and everything else. But all you can really control is those inputs. And if you focus on all the inputs, what you're doing day in, day out consistently, those are the things that are going to get you to where you want to go.
It
And I'm sure you're
compounds
learning these too.
for
Yeah.
sure. It definitely compounds. You have to start somewhere. And instead of just saying, oh, well, I have to go this far, just say, I have to just do this today and this tomorrow and this, and that will take you that far. But I feel we just always put so much pressure on ourselves. We overwhelm ourselves. And at the end, like, I just noticed that 90% of my worries, 99% of my worries never ever happen. It's just like this anxiety, this fear of not being good enough. And at the end of the day, like everything truly, truly, I have this belief like will work out 100%.
Mhm. Sure enough, it
It's
does.
a mindset. It really is just like
Yeah.
a switch. It's hard to do. It takes perseverance and consistency. But once you have that switch, it's very difficult to go back. And you won't want
It,
to go back because everything just seems to be falling into place, you know?
It does. You'll look back at your old self 6 months earlier and you'll see, how far you've come. And like you say, you never want to go back because you built up that muscle. I mean, it's just, you literally rewire your brain, rewire your body, and it just sees the world through a whole new lens.
It's all about firing and rewiring like different neurons in your brain. It's a habit. And like you said, it is a muscle. You have to train it. But once you do, and once it's stronger, it's incredible. The things that just happen in your life, the positivity and just everything's like seems to be unfolding amazingly. And of course, life happens. You do have those down moments, but they'll never be as bad as they were before you started strengthening that muscle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. Now, because this is the Superhuman podcast, I would love to hear some of your superhuman routines. So, like on a personal level, to help manage everything you're doing with the business and different things in your life, do you have any like
I do. I
routines?
do. So on an empty stomach, as soon as I wake up, I'll have bone broth. That's what I do. I mean, personally, I haven't seen that much of a difference. I have been taking it for months, and I'm just used to the taste and I like it. But I know people swear by it, so I've still been keeping that up. Then I always try and like get my steps in. I'll move. I just need to see sunlight or just be out in nature. I'll do a workout, just anything to kind of move my body. Then I'll work throughout the day. And my evening routine, always skincare, my Nuchu gummies throughout the day as well. The calming ones, I'll really, because they really do work, I'll really take them if I'm a bit anxious or just to help me sleep. But if I'm already pretty chill, I wouldn't take those. What else do? I do a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling. I'll script. I'll write a message to my future self as if things have already happened. So I'm big with like manifestation and power of your thoughts. Um, I'll also have this like cacao powder that has ashwagandha and lion's mane inside, like a little healthy hot chocolate. And yeah, I kind of switch it up every day. Some days, because I've been on this kind of self-care meditation mindfulness journey for the last 2 years, I feel I need to meditate less, if that makes sense, because I've already done so much of the work. So now instead of doing it every day, I'll probably do it twice, 3 times a week. So again, it's like I've worked that muscle and I'm pretty relaxed recently, actually. So yeah, I'm in a good headspace. But again, it's like the little things that compound. It's not doing a workout once and then thinking your life is going to change forever. It's really consistency, and it's okay to miss a day, to miss 2 days. You just have to force yourself to like go back and get back on the horse and do the routine again.
Yeah, it's all those baby steps. You're right. Who do you look up to? Like you said, meditation. Do you look at like Joe Dispenza? Any
I'm
entrepreneurs you look up
I'm a
to?
big Neville Goddard
Neville. Yeah,
fan.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he's all about law of assumption. There's also law of attraction, which was like The Secret on Netflix, but the law of assumption is something, I mean, similar but also very different. So I'm a firm believer of that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just finding one person on YouTube. Dylan James I like as well. Yeah, a bunch of different people now.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of people are talking about like this manifestation thing, all these books.
It's
The
big.
Joe Dispenza one's a big one. I've read some of his. I love it because I also like understanding the science behind it, because it's easy to say, yeah, just think positive and like embody your future self and then they will happen. But I feel when you know the science and you know like the physics behind it, it makes it easier to believe in it, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
Joe Dispenza really helps with that aspect of it for sure.
It's interesting. What used to be woo woo with everything is now turning more into the science. They're seeing with this as technology is increasing. So you're seeing, the spiritual and the science come together. It's just a beautiful time to be alive. It's almost like the Renaissance with Da Vinci hundreds of years ago. We're kind of in that right now with everything, right? With AI and everything at the same time.
I agree 100%. I still feel like some of my friends see me as woo woo. So like I won't even talk to them about it. I really keep it to myself and to just like certain people that I know are open to it. But even though there's like a lot more of collective consciousness, let's say like in relation to spirituality, I still feel it's a bit woo woo with like those in my surroundings at least.
Great. So last question, what's ahead with Nuchu for the next 6 months, 1 year? I know you don't like to look far ahead, but what's sort of in the plan?
So I want to take part in like many more events. I really want to foster a community. I don't want it to just be like influencers posting and all of that. I really want it to be somewhere where people, just are like-minded and aligned. And I feel like people now are always on their phone, and I feel like the sense of community is something that has been lost, especially with like Gen Zers. And I think it's really important to get people who are aligned and have like the same interests together. So organizing events, taking part in run clubs, gifting. I really want to create new gummies once I get rid of my initial stock. So towards the end of the year, I do want to create different ranges. I won't say too much about that, but they're gonna be really cool.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. And any last words of wisdom for our listeners before we leave today?
Just breathe and know that you are not alone. Everyone is kind of going through something. No one has it all figured out. And life is just about enjoying the process. And even though things may seem difficult and complicated now, with time, you will look back and be grateful for that experience. I feel
Love
there's
it.
always purpose in pain.
Amazing. Lots of wisdom shared here, and I'm sure our listeners got a lot out of it too. And all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value from today's episode. If you would like to take your health performance to the next level, grab the free Superhuman guide at getsuperhuman.io. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Stay superhuman.